The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Rivers State says it will not relent in its efforts to fight drug abuse as a way of reducing criminality and violence in the state, following a meeting of the Rivers State Peace Architecture, which highlighted drug abuse as one of the key conflict drivers in the state. The State Peace Architecture was set up as part of the project, a community-centered approach to transforming violence and criminality in the Niger Delta, sponsored by the European Union and being implemented by Search for Common Ground and its consortium of partners, aimed at fostering inclusive community security approaches to addressing the systemic drivers of violence and criminality in the Niger Delta, currently running in 60 communities across 33 local government areas in Bayelsa, Delta, and Rivers State. The SPA meeting, which held in Port Harcourt, was organized to discuss on the progress of the community, local government, and state-level peace architectures of the project, to identify the key conflict issues in their various focus areas, and to elaborate on early warning and early response strategies to resolve conflict issues in Rivers State. Speaking at the meeting, the Deputy Commander of Narcotics and the Deputy State Commander of Operations and Training of the NDLEA, Emmanuel Obungbada, acknowledged the prevalent issues of drug abuse in the state, blaming the rise in drug-related issues to government negligence.
Drug abuse is a recurring problem. The reason is not far from government negligence. I keep saying government neglected that sector, believing that it's not a problem. Drug abuse is not just a social challenge, it is also a health challenge. In this case, it's a brain disease. We move from habit to brain disease. The issue somebody raised about when drug dealers are arrested, after a while they return back to society or to where they are dealing these drugs. You see, there are guidelines in our operations. Now there is always a threshold of the substance, the quantity of substance you arrest somebody with before you can charge the person to court. If it is below certain quantity, if you charge the person to court, the judge will ask you to go and cancel the person and release them. But for drug-dependent persons, we don't charge them to court. We rehabilitate them. And that is in consent, in agreement with their relations who will come and then pay a certain amount and then it's like a hostel. We admit them and then, they are rehabilitated. So,
while admonishing the public to report drug-related offenses to the NDLEA, he also revealed that the NDLEA has a rehabilitation center for male drug addicts, while females can be rehabilitated in government-owned hospitals in the state, as addicts are treated as victims.
We have a makeshift rehabilitation center that can only accommodate male, none for female. Yes, only about 30. That is if we want to stretch it. We can accommodate maximum 30. And none for female, and that's because we don't have a facility for that. It's just a makeshift. We, on our own decided to, convert one of our facilities that is supposed to be for a detention facility for women. So we created an alternative and used that one as rehabilitation. But we have a land space within the office premises in Rivers State Command here. We have a land space of about 4 plots of land that can take, a good rehabilitation facility if it's built.
Some of the key conflict issues identified in parts of Rivers State were drug-related issues, host community, oil companies, chieftaincy and land issues, double taxation, robberies and thefts, electoral violence, protests, child trafficking, domestic violence and rape. Addressing issues of crime in some of the communities and local government areas, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, who was represented by the Divisional Police Officer in charge of Olu Obasanjo Police Station, James Abba, pledged his collaboration in tackling the crime and conflict issues discussed by the SPA. Responding to calls for police outposts to be set up in some high-risk areas, Abba promised to relay the message to the Commissioner, who will be willing to support in that regard as long as it is geared towards achieving a crime-free state.
About what you're just saying about the people that collect handset and definitely I will pass the message to CP and we'll do something about that. But even at Jerry Junction also, they're always doing that. But if you notice, it has reduced because I came and I arrested many of them at CFC equally. I've done justice to that. I always tried my possible way to make sure we serve the public. And if whoever that had a contact with me, you see a different police officer. Because I knew that many people don't like police, but at least there are some good ones. Because there are bad eggs among the organizations. And we have tried our possible to make sure we fish them out too, so that people will trust us. So one thing I want you to understand is this. Definitely about what you are saying about the outpost, definitely I will communicate to CP. It's something that can be done. And at the same time, we're going to focus on that area, the patrol team to go to that area to make sure we reduce the crime.
On her part, the country director of Search for Common Ground, Fatima Abubakar, stated that the project is aimed at establishing joint initiatives that includes youth, women and other marginalized groups to explore intergenerational dialogues and conversations that identifies the divisive drivers of conflicts, criminality and violence in the communities.
Very impressed with the commitment that I've seen in the room, as well as the passion that is driving the issues that are being tabled for consideration. Another thing that has come up is sustainable peace. I appreciate that we do not just want peace, but we want a peace that endures the test of time. This also would take a lot of intensive work by the communities, but especially by the government. I think I would like to use this as an opportunity to advocate to government stakeholders to not be tired. Another thing that has come up is the community initiatives. At Search for Common Ground, we believe that sustainable change and sustainable peace needs to be achieved at community level and then trickle up. So the initiatives that are being proposed by the communities and their leadership is something that we're paying close attention to. We've had a lot of suggestions to address livelihood. We've had a lot of suggestions to address the security challenges. We've also had a lot of suggestions to ensure that the young people are carried along. These will keep being explored through the conversations that we're having, and then as much as possible, the support that could be rendered would be rendered. However, we are not promising to take it all. We also recognize that there are other actors in the field as well. We would also ensure that they are carried along in meeting the needs of the communities as well.
Having the state peace architecture meeting, this is the second meeting, and then we have in attendance also the project steering committee from Abuja, who are also here to see for themselves what is happening and how the project has been going on, and also what's been happening within the project as we look out to seeing the successful implementation. Looking at the dynamics and also the stakeholders that have been engaged here, I think that this meeting today will go a long way to resolving some critical issues within the communities and within the local government as far as to the state as well, even the Niger Delta at large.
The SPA group, which is chaired by Patrick Ndukwe and co-chaired by Chief Rose M.B. Zuranen, also deliberated on possible solutions to the key conflict drivers and how stakeholders can collaborate towards resolving conflict issues flagged in the community, local government and state levels. The meeting was attended by representatives of the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC), the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA), Department of State Services (DSS), Association of Informal Workers, government officials, civil society organizations, the media, and other stakeholders. Elvira Jordan, reporting for Brighter Brand TV.